So, what is it? The question I start these interviews with on the topic of faith is, what's your earliest memory of having faith?
I guess I guess I remember in New Jersey one winter when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and of course Pop was going through the challenge of bankruptcy, heavy snowfall. I decided to take a shovel and go shovel sidewalks to bring in some money. And I would go down the street, and our neighbors would bend over backwards to have me shovel the snow, and they would pay me very nicely. And so the faith really was, I had faith that I knew if I went to each of the neighbors, they would let me do that, and I would get some money, and then I would bring it home and give it to Mom. So it sort of started there. Fishing. There was a challenging time. I was, born and raised a Catholic. My father was a Catholic. My mother was a Presbyterian, but she converted with 6 children. And I remember living in Oak Hill, Florida, and one of my best friends drowned in the Indian River. And back then, us Catholics weren't allowed to go to any Protestant services or Jewish services. So here was his funeral, and I was told I couldn't go to the service. That bothered me. And I went to the church. I stood outside by the window. I listened to this, but I never went inside. And that was the old Catholic church of bygone years, where you realize how many of church laws, no matter what denomination, what faith, are man laws, they're not God's laws. I mean, we literally shut the plant down, and I said, okay, and after 6-7 years, no one's going to be laid off. We are going to go out and coat the parking lot. We are going to paint the building. We are going to do all these things, and these are men and women. But they came off the farm, and I knew they could use their hands with some good leadership and direction. But we were faced with what's going to happen. And of course, I felt, and I'll never forget, I was in the house, and I was talking to God and just said, boy, the dream has happened. We've got a group of people, trusting, honest, we're making things happen. We've had lots of challenges, but every challenge we met. You've given us the answers and all that. And I remember looking out the window, and this white light, I mean, just like a ring, and just stopped, and I just got the message that was, stay the course. Stay the course. I'm with you. That was it. Gone. So I stayed the course, and today, it's one of the model was transferred throughout all the manufacturing sites within Procter & Gamble, the technician concept, and so on.
What is your understanding of God today in your life?
My belief is pretty straightforward. I didn't do a damn thing to be who I am, where I am, to exist. So that's someone else. And therefore, I owe everything to God, and I use that term. It could have been a different term, but the Creator, and I have no idea what's in the future, but I'll leave it in God's hands. I'm for a ride. I'm on a ride.
Tell me about a time you doubted your faith and what happened.
I've had times when things weren't going very well, and and it just and I realized it's of our making, not God's. And I turned to Him and I say, God, it's in your hands. I'm going to just sit and wait for your signals and guide me. And that's how I deal with it. I'm a very optimistic person. In fact, I am convinced that one of the reasons I am optimistic as a person is because I do have faith. And that faith is sort of like the wind. I have no idea where it starts and I have no idea where it ends. But it's there. I know it. I feel it. But I couldn't tell you what it is. I remember my humanities class freshman year in college, what is love? And also, what is God? And we studied, we would work through that. And the issue is, yep, it's here. You know it. If you're open to it. If you're not open to it, you'll miss it. But if you are open to it. But I guess in all my years, even going back as a little 5-year-old shoveling sidewalks, the journey in life, and again, I went to school in Oak Hill where we didn't have enough money. I went to school barefoot. When I was working on the fishing boat, I was barefoot. I mean, we were really poor. We were struggling, but what we needed came.
Last question.
Yeah.
When people see your picture, what do you want them to know about you?
Rags to riches story. And the riches isn't financial or whatever. It's riches in the world. I've grown to appreciate everything being God made. I can't grow a single hair on my head. I can't grow a needle on that fir tree out there. Mankind can't. We certainly can do things, but even when that happens, there's a power that's beyond us that's making it happen. And we just need to understand that. Now, I have to admit, I do have one grandson who doesn't necessarily believe there's a God. And he and I, when he had written a term paper in senior year in high school, it was due on Monday. It was Sunday, and we were at the house. And he came in around 11 o'clock, said, showed it to his mother. Mother read it. He said, she made 2 suggestions. I said, what's the topic? And he said, Big Bang Theory. And, I said, did you get to, like debating? Did you have to pick one of the evolution, Big Bang Theory, and whatever? And he said, no, that's what I believe in. I don't believe that there's a God. I think it all came together. I said, interesting. I said, there's an old story, Taylor, that someone like you met God and happened to be talking about it, and you said to God, God, I don't believe that you've created the universe. I don't believe that. I think taking some dirt, compressing it under extreme pressure, and setting it aside there, and all of a sudden some microbes will grow and bacteria and life will create, and it happens. And it didn't happen because of you. And God looked at you, Taylor, and said, get your own dirt.